I'm David Francis, and I'm delighted to be here. And I'm sadly not madly well prepared because I didn't bring what I was going to read, because I was going to read from a new novel I'm working on. But luckily I have some other options, and I'm just deciding now. I'll first read a short piece that was published in the short. You like short? Yeah. And if you want to leave, I won't be the least bit offended if you do.
We will cry.
But you might just be able to stay through this bit because it's only 2 pages. Let's hope. It'll be a test. This is called Daisy on the Bridge, which I kind of always read at readings, and it is a story that is set when I came back to LA from a writers' festival in Australia, which is where I'm from. I have written 2 novels. The first one was, in this country, was called The Great Inland Sea. In other countries was called Agapanthus Tango. No one here knows what an agapanthus is, unless you live in Southern California, then you might.
Is it a flower?
Because it's a flower that probably grows right along the street here, and is sometimes called Lily of the Nile in America. And then I wrote, this is actually the Australian edition, but my second novel is Stray Dog Winter, and I've just come back from the East Coast where it won an American Library Association Fiction Award, so that was kind of cool.
All right.
So thank you. I love readings when there's no one there hardly, because it's much more intimate and it feels very kind of relaxed, and that's cool. Okay, so this is Daisy on the Bridge. The day I got back to LA from the Australian Writers' Festival, I got a call from my neighbor, Cliff. He said he needed to see me. Cliff was depressed enough before I went away. Now his medications weren't working. We agreed to meet at the Tango Grill on Santa Monica. He arrived with his old yellow Labrador, Daisy, and we sat outside amidst the carbon monoxide. Daisy was over-friendly and talked to everyone, licking strange men's pants. She looks well, I said. She has leukemia, said Cliff. Don't you, girl? She wagged her tail frantically as if it weren't a problem. Cliff said he was driving her up to San Francisco for the weekend. She might not get up there again, he said. He gave her some bread and olive oil, which she dripped with enthusiasm all over my good G-Star jeans. Cliff said he was having a hard time with her being sick, that he'd been isolating and overeating, and I could see that he wasn't doing well. He put on some pounds and looked pretty dreadful. I'm turning 40 when I'm up there, he said. I'm going to drive her out to the Golden Gate Bridge. Daisy barked as if she knew all about it. It's beautiful there, I said. I'm going to throw her over, then jump off the bridge myself. He said it so nonchalantly, I suspected I'd misheard. I couldn't tell if he was serious. Could you repeat that, I asked? He did, matter-of-factly, and I couldn't help noticing each time he said the word bridge, Daisy looked at him and barked. I'd had some strange conversations in Australia after all I'd visited my family, but nothing like this. I knew I was back in LA. I restrained myself from saying something pathetic like, you mustn't do that. You have so much to offer, more than you know. Luckily, the waiter appeared, as if to give me a breather. I looked at the dog on the end of its leash, and she smiled and lifted a paw. I imagined the expression on her face as she plummeted toward the water, looking up hopefully at Cliff as he leaned over the railing. I suddenly wasn't feeling hungry. The waiter went away. How do you think she'll feel if she goes first? She won't know you're coming after, I ventured. I might jump with her, he said. How will you do that, I asked. Now I was involved in logistics, chatting away like it could be a party we were planning, or starting up a business. Or you could jump first and see if she'll follow, I said. I've seen some cruel tests of love, but this seemed like the ultimate. I wanted to say the word bridge and see if she'd bark, but it wasn't fair to taunt her. She was a dying dog. Then Cliff asked me quite unexpectedly, so what's going on with you? I told him how my book was doing nicely in Australia, how my family seemed pleased but not with each other. But Cliff didn't hear me, too busy inhaling a slab of meatloaf and gravy, deep in thoughts of what I assumed was murder-suicide. All the while I was looking at Daisy, imagining her wagging her tail all the way to the water, diving in perfectly and swimming ashore, bounding back along the bridge, breathless and ready to do it again, but finding Cliff gone. The bridge game gone awry. I got a phone call from Cliff last Monday on his way back to LA. He'd been to the bridge but decided not to do it. It had been such a beautiful day and there were too many people and Daisy wouldn't stop barking. He said he's thinking of moving to San Francisco. I still can't work out if that's a good idea. So that's just a short piece.